the wilderness may not be as we see there, right? Our wilderness experience could take other forms.
Yes.
Just like my experience, right? It was like wilderness, something. But what I saw would have been there to take me through was the continuous following of the Word of God, right? And truly, I could say that it had kept me, right? And today we would see then that if we would go through that particular thing there, God, as he said, the reason why he was allowing them to go through that to see if they will keep his commandments.
Okay. So he allowed them to go through the experience to see if they would have kept his commandments. That's one
So
point.
they were going through the experience, and instead of keeping the commandments, they were murmuring and complaining, which means they were not keeping the faith.
Okay.
That's why Hebrews chapter 4 will continue to show that they could not have entered into God's rest because
of unbelief.
Of their unbelief.
Praise God.
Right?
Next person. Sister Myrtle, you know I'm coming to you. Same to you. Push it up.
Yes, happy Sabbath. I know what I like to say, we talk about them, but why do I feel that if God provided for me last week, that he wouldn't provide for me today? Why do I do it? I can't assume what their thoughts were. Right? Why do we, when Sabbath comes, still feel that if I didn't get it in the grocery, I have to go Sabbath morning to buy it?
Yes.
Can't we not do without it? Would God not sustain us? Would he not bring somebody with the same thing that we need? But we take it upon ourselves to make ourselves God, because that is what it is. And go and supply our own needs.
Right.
Saying that, God, you are not big enough or good enough or provider enough for little insignificant me.
And we do it ourselves.
And we do it. We keep talking about them.
Very good. Anybody else wanted to comment on it? Okay. Don't think I'm not coming to you. All right. Chapter 4 of Exodus, from verse 29. And I want us to go back, because sometimes we look at, as you rightly said, Sister Myrtle, we look at them, but we are in that same situation. All right, look at verse 29. It says, and Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Israel. Now, this was in response to what God had told Moses to do. He said, you don't just go in and tell Pharaoh anything. First, you need to deal with the elders. Go and talk to the elders, the leading men. So he went and they gathered the elders of the children of Israel. 30. And Aaron spake all the words which the Lord had spoken unto Moses, and did the signs in the sight of the people. So there was not just words. God showed himself powerfully. Remember, he talked about Moses had a rod in his hand, because when God first spoke to Moses, he said, they won't hear me. They're not going to listen to me at all. He said, all right, what is that in your hand? He said, a rod. Throw it down. And he did. And when he did, it turned into a serpent. And then he said, pick it up by the tail. And he did. And it turned back into the rod. Then he told him to put his hand in his breast. And when he pulled it out, it became white and leprous. Now, it's interesting to know that leprosy was a serious sign. Because when you had leprosy, the only person who could have saved you, remember when we did with Naaman, you recognize it only God could change that back. And it wasn't something that they were to take lightly. This was a real sign. I suppose the serpent would have been to appease to Pharaoh, because they were idol worshippers. And they used to do all those kind of things. But they couldn't take a rod and really make it into a real serpent or turn it back. They couldn't do that, right? So he showed the signs to them. So they had the word, they had signs. We also have the word, and God shows us signs in different ways in our lives. Maybe we don't take them as seriously, but God shows his power in our lives. Verse 31, and the people believed. And when they heard that the Lord had visited the children of Israel, and that he had looked upon their affliction, then they bowed their heads and worshipped. So they believed and they acted on their belief. They bowed their head and worshiped. Worship signifying that they accept accepted, they agreed, they went into that covenant relationship with God. God was going to be, he was going to be their God, and they were going to be his people. So he showed even more manifestations. Remember, Goshen was in the land of Egypt, and nothing touched Goshen. While the hosts of Egypt, they got everything, the onslaught of it, because they were in obedience. Here it is now, you're going out with God. He parted, he didn't stop there. Remember, he parted the Red Sea for them to go through on dry land. Not just parted, no mud. They went through on dry land. So you had multiple signs upon signs upon signs. And here it is now, you start to feel hungry. Wow. You start to feel hungry, and it's like everything just gone out of your mind. Doesn't that happen to us? God is so good to us. And we do it not just to God, we do it to each other.